Hello, and welcome to the Cedar River Snag-After Hours. It might be after dark. I still don't know. Have we decided that, Daphne? We probably haven't decided that. That doesn't matter. We are background noise. If you know, you know. Sometimes you want something that's not important, you can just pop in and out of listening to. And you don't really want to watch the video, so go ahead, put me in that little teeny tiny minimized box. I do not mind. You are not going to miss anything up here. And it's just basically straight up improv talk, and it's not as bad as it sounds. You won't get a lot of and even though I had a topic and I have completely blanked about what it was. And it doesn't matter because I'm going to tell you my second favorite all-time ghost story because I don't what are we on, number 4? We got to do 5 and drop. This will probably be out in October, so it's a good preliminary spooky story. And yeah, that's what we'll go with today because I don't want to think of anything else. But thank you. Welcome for joining us. Before I go too much further, we're not intended for children. They may be strong language, adult situations, I don't know, that kind of stuff. But if you let the spawn of your loins swim freely through the currents of YouTube, probably won't be the worst thing they see. But that being said, I am your host, Cedar. And you may be like, I know you from insert whatever. Yep, that is me. This is a current project I am working on, and we're gonna see what kind of traction we get on it, and we will shoot out from there. But on to the ghost stories, because it's October. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, like for no other reason than candy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's all about the candy. Like, I love the candy, and I got kids, so I got the dad tax on candy. It's a beautiful thing. I'll be like, yeah, you want to go down another row of houses? All right, have at it, boys. I'm eating half of them freaking candy bars, and I'm gonna tear into them. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is. I love Halloween. But for spooky, scary ghost stories, this one's actually not even too scary because I am the ghost in this actual story. So it ain't like it's one of them brutally scary, gonna give you nightmares. Just to forewarn you. But I used to fish at the back end of the cemetery, right? There was actually, at the cemetery, there was a hill that went down, and there was a bunch of old, I think they were like Civil War gravestones. And the story I heard was a lot of the people weren't actually buried there. That's just where their markers were. Like, I don't know how many people were. But anyway, this area was like down a hill, and you could tell there was like stairs and stuff at one point in time. It was pretty fancy little section. But it had a creek that went behind it. It was fed off a river. And that damn creek would jump up like from 6 foot deep to about 12 foot deep, maybe 13, 14 foot deep. And it would come up over top this gravesite, right? And this gravesite was all dilapidated. There were stones down everywhere else. There were still some big concrete monuments. And like you could still see the concrete like steps, not cobblestone, but like the big flagstone concrete steps and pads and stuff down there. But other than that, they didn't really mow. The weeds were up. There was a couple paths because people would come down there all the time. For me to get down to the creek, though, where I would fish, I would actually park at a college across from the cemetery and come down this hill that was like damn near impassable. It was horrible, especially carrying a fishing pole. Like, it was just through trees, and I would get hung up and everything else. But I would go down there, and I'd basically be at the back side of the cemetery, right across from the Civil War section, fishing. And I would go down there, and I would fish at night. And the thing is the water would come up, right? And this thing would flood. The water would come back out. And big old channel cat would get stuck in there, and flathead, and it was good catfish. Right, perfect spot. They got stuck. You go up there, you can fish, you can do whatever. And I would fish there, and I noticed like all the time, you'd have groups of like teenagers or kids or whatever come down there in the middle of the night. And I don't know where they park because I wouldn't park in the cemetery to fish there because the cemetery was patrolled. But they didn't come down the hill that you could see the lights up top. So I don't know. They must have hoofed it in there. But they would come all the way down to the back side, far side of the cemetery, come down there, and then they would hold seances or try to contact spirits or it was always something going on. And I literally would sit there and I would listen to them while I'm fishing. And got to the point where at first, it was kind of creepy. I'm like, ooh, I hope they don't summon. But they never did. They never contact nobody. So what I started doing was I would pick up rocks. And when these kids or whatever would be like, is there a spirit here? I would just chuck one randomly out into the trees and they make a bunch of noise and throw, toss one over and bounce it off a stone. Clunk, 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 clunk. Everybody'd freak out. And it was it was always fun. I would, just screw with people. And one night, man, I was down there and I seen all these flashlights and it was a group of kids, I'm guessing from ages of 14 to 16-ish. That would be my rough guess, just based on language and such. I never seen them, but I seen the flashlights as they came down the hill, and I seen them set up, and they lit their candles. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be good. And the whole time, everybody in this group keeps yelling at this poor girl, Marcy. They're like, Marcy, don't do that. Marcy, you can't break the circle. Marcy, you can't. And they're just like going on, poor Marcy. And she was along for the ride. And they start asking questions, right? Like, is there any spirits here? And at first, I'm going to sit there. Well, there ain't nothing biting. I'm bored. Is there a spirit here? I throw a rock up in the trees and it bounces around. They're like, whoa, is there really a spirit? Hell, throw another rock. Yep. And so they're going through all these questions, like yes and no. And they basically got, are you like a happy spirit, a good spirit? Hell no, I'm pissed off. So I don't throw rocks until like, are you a mad, angry spirit? And then, yeah, dude, I chucked me a rock. And at this point, I've been doing this for like 30 minutes with them. At this point, they're all freaking out. And they're like, there's an evil spirit. And they're like, what do we do? And they're like, can we appease it? Can we whatever? And they're all like asking questions like, can we help you? Nope, you can't help me. Not unless you can make the fish bite, then you can help me. And I'm literally down there and they're like, oh God, okay, spirit. They're like, is there anybody here that you're mad at? And like, I throw a rock and they're like, oh my God, it's somebody here. And then they're pointing fingers at each other. Like, it's you. I told you not to do this. No, it's you. I told you not to do this. No, I told you not to do this. And they're all down there having a mini heart attack. And I'm trying not to laugh. And they're like, spirit, who are you mad at? And at this point in time, I cannot answer that by throwing a rock. And I'm really kind of caught up in screwing with them at this point. And the only person I know over there, Yep. Spirit, who are you mad at? And I go, Marcy, like the deepest whatever. And as soon as I didn't even finish saying the words, I seen flashlights come on. They went running. Dude, they left everything down there. There was like candles going. And dude, I watched them just scatter up that hill screaming bloody murder. And I'm trying not to like laugh and throw my, I'm screwing with them. But I'm sitting over there and I'm looking over at their stuff, right? And they got candles going and I can like kind of see blankets and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go put the damn candles out, right? Like, I don't want to be the guy that's responsible for scaring these kids off and the candle burns down half a cemetery. Like, okay, I'm gonna go put the candles out. And it wasn't too bad because, I could walk around, hip-hop scotch across the stream, and I was right over there. So I go over there, and they got all their stuff just scattered everywhere, and I'm like, hell, I'm gonna be a nice guy. So I start picking it up and, like, putting it in a pile, and there's their damn Ouija board in the middle, and I cannot resist. I don't know why, but I take it, and I flip it over, and on the back, I took my pocket knife, and I roughly carved Marcy in like big jagged letters just into the back of this board. And then I flipped it down on top of the pile and I blew out all their candles. But oh God, if you see this, Marcy, I'm sorry. I hope you didn't go through years of therapy or just you might be a nun at this point and never see this video, but I'm sorry, Marcy, because I could not resist. You set him up, I knocked him down. But this day, I really wonder, and I've posted it on several social medias. So if I ever find Marcy, I would love to have a conversation with her, because, good God, I often sit and wonder, what happened to them after that? Because they all went home freaked out. Oh my God, there was a ghost. He yelled at Marcy. Daytime, they're going to go back and get their stuff, right? Like, they left everything. So daytime, okay, maybe we imagined it, okay, they're getting all, we can rationalize this. Let's go get our stuff. This is freaky. And then to find the board with the name carved in the back and be like, Marcy, you got a problem. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. To this day, I wonder about poor Marcy. Oh, good God. That is like my second favorite ghost story of all time. And in that one, I am the ghost. And I can only imagine on the other side, like, I would... Oh, them damn kids. They didn't see that one coming. Which is crazy, because I will tell you, I've actually hung out, I fished in 2 different cemeteries. And then I had one that I would go to when I was in college because I was antisocial. And I would literally go back in there, have a safety meeting, eat my lunch. I would do homework and whatever because there was nobody else there. I spent a lot of time, oddly enough, when I was younger. And it was always like a park that nobody else went to. That's the best way to me explain it. It was never like anything scary or whatever. The freakiest thing I had ever saw was I pulled into a cemetery. It was this Catholic cemetery, a little one. And there was like a tornado hitting just a couple miles south of me. Like, trees were blowing over where I was. And like, it was bad. Stuff was snapping off. And I'm driving down the road. I had no idea the storm's coming. And I turned the radio on. They're like, take cover or whatever. And I couldn't barely see, but the only thing I could think of where to go to was this damn Catholic cemetery. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this Catholic cemetery. And I pulled in, and it's a big old cemetery. In the middle of it, they got like this octagon-shaped plot with clergy, nuns, and priests buried around it. And in the middle of that is this giant, like... 20-foot cross with a humongous statue of Jesus on this thing, like crucified. So I pulled in there, and I can by that because there's no trees that could hit me where I'm parked. And I'll tell the full story later because it was oddly freaky. Anyway, one of Jesus's hands came loose, and he started waving at me, and I'm like, oh, that ain't good. And I watched like this 20-foot plaster concrete Jesus break free and do a nosedive off the cross. That, honestly, is the weirdest thing I have ever seen. But a whole lot more to that story, but that is a whole nother... Yeah, that's its own little thing. You know how that goes. But, sometimes you are the thing that goes bump in the woods. That's what we'll wrap up on this one. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And, we'll keep kicking we'll kick out a couple of these, and if there's any interest at all, we'll keep them coming out a little bit on the regular. If there's a lot of interest, we'll go ahead and we'll pump them out until you're sick and tired of me. But, that being said, hey, I hope you all have a good one. Thanks for joining us here. And number 4, at number 5, the editing starts, right, Daphne? That's right. And then once we record, was it 6 or 7, they all first 5 get posted. There ain't nothing like finding something you like to listen to, and then they only have like 2 episodes, and you're like, what the hell? I at least want to give you a couple hours of me, in case you're like, I could listen to this guy. He gives you something to go back onto. And, short enough in 15 minutes, so you can be like, okay, I can do that for 15 minutes, and then the next one pops up, I can do that for 30. Or after 15, you're like, screw this guy, I'm over this shit. That's cool too. But hey, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you.